Hello everybody, it's Aaron back from Screen Stars, here once again to do another review for Geek Legion of Doom. And today I am reviewing the horror movie The Nursery, a low budget horror movie that actually was quite a pleasant surprise to me. And this film focuses on, essentially it's a babysitter who is asked to babysit at this house kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And the parents go off for a night out together and she's left with this baby that she has to babysit, but all manner of strange things start happening in the house. Noises, sounds, her phone keeps giving her dodgy messages and pictures, things like that, and her friends who are worried about her come over and spend the evening with her. And it's two girls and the boyfriend of one of the girls come over at the house, but this continues to escalate, these spooky activities. She gets her younger brother involved by voice chatting sort of thing, FaceTiming him sort of thing, because he's really interested in the paranormal and he thinks there's something spooky going on in the house. Just continues to escalate. They keep seeing things, hearing things, and they suspect there might be a malevolent spirit in the house that might have some connection to a child that passed some years earlier. And that's the plot and the premise that you get with this movie. Now, like I say, this film I found to be a pleasant surprise, and I didn't expect it to be, because it had a pretty poor start. I didn't like the way it started. It was filmed in, it was almost like the director or the cameraman was just getting used to how to take these shots. It was quite off-putting the way it was filmed initially. It felt very cheap. Some of the acting early on was a bit off-kilter. It just didn't feel right, didn't seem to fit the movie. And it was lit in a strange way, odd. It didn't seem to fit the movie. They threw a few cheap jump scares at you early on, for example, when she knocks on the door, when she turns around, and then sharp music, and it's just the father welcoming her in the house. It was just like roll your eyes, cheap scare time, cheap jump scare tactic. So the early signs for this movie wasn't good, and the first 15-20 minutes of this movie I wasn't into it at all. And it was almost like the director was experimenting with the way he was filming the movie early on, the way it was lit and the sound, and it was just odd the way they were doing it. It doesn't fit the rest of the movie, because when the friends turn up, so there's like the babysitter girl and her two girlfriends and the boyfriend, when they're all together, it takes a shift, the movie, and it starts becoming filmed in a more traditional way. There's not these strange cuts going on in the movie, and the first 20 minutes are odd, and it doesn't seem to fit the rest of the movie, and I genuinely don't know what they were thinking early on. But like I say, once everyone's there, the film really takes off, and it starts taking shape, and it starts going down a much more traditional route, and it has some quite effective scary moments, this movie. It does have quite a lot of horror tropes that you will recognise in the movie. It's got one that is a pet hate of mine, where people insist on walking around darkened rooms and darkened houses. You know, turn a light switch on, for God's sake. They forget their own rules in the movie, like, you know, we should stick together, and then the next scene one of them's gone off on their own, sort of thing, and it's just like, you know, stick to your own rules. You've only just set these rules, stop breaking them straight away. The music felt a little bit cliched at times. It was almost like they got spooky music from a library on a PC and like fitted it into the film, and it wasn't always effective, the music. But other than that, I thought they built some pretty decent tension in this movie, and it was creepy as hell at times, genuinely creepy. There's a couple of moments in this movie where it had me really creeped out. Some pretty effective scares going on in the movie, and I have to say the design of I don't know what you want to call it, the creature, the spirit, whatever it is that's haunting this house, the design of it, while maybe a little bit unoriginal, I thought was effective. There were elements of it that was really, really creepy. And it actually turned out, this movie, to be really much better than I expected it to be. After the poor opening and the fairly slow trundling along of the second act, the final half an hour of this movie was, I have to say, impressive. I was very, very impressed with the rest of the movie, and it was almost like they forgot to be doing all this inventive, crazy filming stuff they were doing at the beginning of the movie, and then they realised, oh, let's give them what they want in this movie. Let's give them a really traditional fright fest, and it worked when they decided to do that. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, guys, and I have to say, after the first 15 minutes of watching this movie, I didn't think there was any chance in hell that this movie was going to be getting a score like that. But yeah, for me, pretty effective, pretty creepy, pretty scary at times, but it is low budget. But I think they've made really, really effective use of the budget that they had in this movie, and they've put it in the right places. And overall, I thought, even though there was some dodgy early acting, I thought everybody settled into the roles really well, and I thought the lead actress particularly was very good in this movie. So yeah, I think if you like these type of horror movies, like spooky, supernatural, haunting type movies, there's some definitely interesting stuff here for you to enjoy. So I think this is worth a watch, guys. So thank you very much for checking out this review.